Two booktubers, Hannah's Recent Reads and Ravenhairedreader, go head to head to see if they can give me the best fantasy romance recommendation. Who will be victorious? Will I like Heavenly Bodies or Fear the Flames better? Yesterday, Nick and me packed up and we went out to my lake property. He has a week off work, so we're just kind of hanging out here and having like a little mini vacation. But that does mean that I got super cozy last night and started Heavenly Bodies. Hannah and me have such similar fan row taste. I'm really excited to dive into this one. I'm not far in. I'm only 69 pages in, but so far I'm really enjoying it. If you like a stabby MC, a female who's going to be like
putting the knife to the guy's throat,
I think that you'll like this one. I think I'm gonna annotate it. I mean, that did me dirty in the last vlog when I decided to annotate Divine Rivals really early on. However, I'm getting smarter. I have just been using my Kindle app on my phone since I do have the ebook of this, and every time I think something is cute or like bantery or I just want to like annotate it, I've been highlighting it on my phone, and then once I fully decide my feelings on this, I'm gonna go back all of my colors and annotating supplies and highlight and write in this so that I will officially know that I'm gonna like this before I write in it. Overall though, first impressions are really good, and I'm just excited to be at the lake now for a week of reading. I forgot to check in with you at all yesterday, so good morning. It's the next day. I actually made good progress in Heavenly Bodies last night. I'm quite shocked. I made it to 40%. Even with some distractions, because last night Nick said,
"I want cookies."
And I, being the great girlfriend that I am, said, okay, I'll bake you cookies. We're at my cabin, so like I have to bake them from scratch. We didn't have like cookie dough. I can't bake.
Cassidy has neglected to continue to vlog because her cookies look like this. But I have told her she has to because it's too funny not to show the cookies.
I hate baking. Why did you want cookies?
What the hell's in the middle of it?
I can't bake at all. Luckily I can cook and we've been eating a lot of good food, but ask me to follow a recipe like exactly and I fail miserably at that. I don't know, don't tell me what to do. We're just gonna pretend those cookies never existed. However, I do not want to pretend Heavenly Bodies never existed. I am kind of obsessed with these characters. They are just so fun to watch communicate because their banter is like truly bantering. Like they're just constantly teasing each other, which is like my favorite type of love story to read. I will say that I think this book has some pacing issues. I think it escalates everything far too quickly and resolves things far too quickly, especially being this long. I was expecting a lot more slow setup. I was also expecting a lot more slow burn. I still think it's slow burn, but it's like fast slow burn. It's like fast-paced slow burn. We know that they're gonna get together like pretty quickly in this. It like definitely feels like their relationship escalates. However, it is still slow burn because they haven't even kissed yet. But like, you also can tell that they clearly are gonna do everything, burn the world down for each other. My favorite vibes. And this book kind of feels like a list of tropes. Literally, I think that the author had a list of tropes next to her and she just checkmarked them off as she did them. Do I love every single trope? Like one horse, touch her and I'll kill you, healing scene, like all of those things. Yes, so I'm eating this up. But at times, it can just feel like a checklist of tropes. So I definitely have complaints about this. However, I've decided officially I'm going to mark the book. I'm going to annotate it. I'm really excited because I think this will at least score a 3-star, if not higher. I'm currently sitting around a 4-star, and I think the last half could really sell it for me because I'm honestly obsessed with these two. And the magic system. I love the like politics of the world and stuff. I should really probably tell you what this book is about. In the story, we're following Alara, who has a prophecy. She's going to fall in love with a star and it's gonna kill them both. Stars are essentially gods in this world. They're gods based on like astrology, which I think was really cool, and like the powers that they give each one of the people within their kingdom also was kind of fun because it's like different between each kingdom, and I think that that's interesting and keeps the story quite unique and interesting to like learn more about each kingdom as we get introduced. Like we've been introduced to about 4 different kingdoms at this point in time, but there are a lot of stars in this world, like a lot of gods. So essentially she has this prophecy that she cannot be killed by a star and she's going to be the death of one, and there's no other way to kill a star. And one of these stars decides that he doesn't like this prophecy. It's too big of a risk, so he comes and he kills all of Alara's family in order to make her hate her so that she could never fall in love with him and be the end of him. And then the book starts. I will say things get resolved really quickly with her magic specifically, but I was still engaged in the rest of the story. Today is a no bones day. I mean, is this very different from yesterday? Probably not. Today, I just don't plan on leaving the couch. I want to read, maybe finish Heavenly Bodies. I need to do a little bit of video editing. For the most part, I just want to relax and not think about the world outside. I mean, I pretty much did this yesterday because yesterday I ended up in like an impromptu Hunger Games binge. I watched all 4 movies yesterday. During the first 2, I did work though. I was editing photos, but the second 2 Nick did come join me for, so we just kind of snuggled and watched movies, but I was still really productive yesterday. So today is like anti-productivity. I mean, I'm still gonna be productive because I'm gonna be reading Heavenly Bodies, but like from this position and this position only. I am currently on some sprints over here, but I'm just chilling. We're gonna read this. Oh, and then tonight I do have my Vampire Diaries watch along, which still I feel like fits the no bones vibes because like Vampire Diaries is just so much fun and so relaxing to watch, especially with like my Patreons. I love watching it with everyone. I think it's a lot of fun. But yeah, no bones, chill. I'll update you. Wait, you're not even gonna show me the color?
That one's green.
Still wrong.
What do you mean?
Show me it.
Red?
No.
Green?
No. I am roughly 60% into this. I just like love the banter. Enzo, he is ride or die. I'm literally ride or die this lion of a man. Like, he's perfect. He's literally perfect. He's willing to kill everyone for her, but he's compassionate and he's passionate and he's kind and he's caring, but he's also like ruthless and vengeful and touch her and you die and just like, I'm so obsessed with him. I'm literally obsessed with him. I also like that Alara has some self-confidence. I like that she makes her own decisions and ideas. I like that she's not just a damsel in distress, although he is coming to save her, and we love that he's coming to save her. She is also plotting and planning and not just like waiting around. She's actively like helping the scenario out, and I really like that about her. Both of these characters have a lot of agency, and I'm really liking that, on top of just like this like playful fun banter. Like even when they're like together and like romantic, they're still like teasing and like bantering, and that's what I like really prefer, because often I find in a romance sometimes it's like heavy banter. Like once they get together the banter ends because it's very like enemies to lovers style banter. So like when they're enemies they're making fun of each other. But I loved that these two continue their banter. Like it truly feels like part of their relationship is teasing each other. Chef's kiss in my opinion. I'm really enjoying this one, even with some of like the pacing issues and stuff like that. I think it's a really, really interesting story, and I'm very much into the two of them. I also figured this would be a good time to talk to you about Hannah, because obviously Hannah from Hannah's Recent Reads gave me Heavenly Bodies to read, and I love Hannah. Hannah's channel is just like cozy to me. Like watching Hannah's vlogs, I feel very much a part of Hannah's life, and I feel very relaxed, and I really love that about her. I love watching her like journal or annotate or do anything like that. It just feels very much like home almost, which is kind of weird to say about like a person's YouTube channel, but I feel like that's like the best compliment I could give her. Really, like if I'm in the mood to just like cozy up with a blanket, some hot chocolate, she just gives me those vibes, like cozy vibes, and it feels very like comforting to watch her videos, on top of the fact that her like romance vibes are my romance vibes. Like I love good banter, and every book she suggested to me to read has had like A1 banter. I would have not read Powerless if it wasn't for Hannah, and the banter in Powerless was like to die for, and that's how I feel about this one too. Like just the one-liners in this book are like impeccable. So definitely, if you like my fanro taste, I think that you will like Hannah. She's like my go-to. Like, I'm looking for a fanro to read. I'm like scrolling through Hannah's videos, watching them until I find her recommendation. Love Hannah's channel. She's like a beautiful human being as well, and her annotations. If you are an annotating girly, you need to watch and follow Hannah on Instagram, because I don't know anyone who can annotate like her. I like love it. I'm so jealous. I'm becoming one. I have been annotating. You can see the tabs, they're filled in, all inspired by Hannah. There's like a cute little quote right there and like some annotations. She's just truly my inspiration for so much when it comes to annotating. Sorry the lighting is a little rough, but
it's spicy. It's starting.
It's spicy. The voice cracks. You're doing great.
It's starting. Last time I had to stop halfway.
So now you're gonna make it all the way through?
Oh, it's really good though. There's only a little
I'm
bit.
starting to go dizzy.
Should you lie down? Should we get you a towel?
It was getting better, and now it's just...
would you like a glass of milk or something?
No, I can't do that. That's cheating.
I finished Heavenly Bodies last night. I definitely have some mixed thoughts on this one. I need to sit on it for a little bit before giving like a real star rating. I'm sitting somewhere between a 3 and a 4. I really liked Alara and Enzo together. I really would give this book 5 stars just for them and their banter and their fun like romance in it. However, this book had serious pacing issues. There are like 4 chapters of a ceremony at some point that I was just like, oh my god, can this end? This book itself could have been broken down, I think, almost into a trilogy, but definitely 2 books. It just felt like too long with like too much going on. I think the author tried to do a little bit too much in this one. Although I liked it and enjoyed it, I definitely wish we could have slowed down at bits. I think I'm leaning towards a 4 star. I do think I am, just because I did really like the 2 together, and I liked the world building and the magic, and I liked where the story went, but I just don't think it's like the most technically strong book. But does that really matter? Does it? Today is really freaking cold out. It's like minus 40. So we are spending the entire day puzzling and not going outside. Because that's what you do in Canada when it gets that freaking cold. And in case you didn't know, minus 40 Celsius and minus 40 Fahrenheit are the exact same temperature.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona. I reach through mysterious ceilings, my only hope.
Ignore my wet hair. I just scrub it up dude in the shower. But I have finally decided my thoughts on Heavenly Bodies. I have already started Fear the Flames. I believe you saw me starting it in like a b-roll clip at this point. I think this could be the year that I decide to give up 0.5 stars. I think I've settled on a 3.5. I just can't commit to a 3 or a 4. There are a lot of things I really liked about this, but I really struggled with some of the dialogue, specifically when we were in the found family aspects, when we were in a group being friends. The dialogue really struggled a little bit for me there. Definitely didn't feel as like natural in those points, and there was just so many pacing issues that even though I thought this story overall was really cool and I really bought into like the romance, the pacing was just like the biggest problem throughout this entire story. Both the plot and the romance need better pacing in my opinion, and so I think I'm settling on a 3.5 star rating for this. I really liked a lot of this, and this is a book I will be recommending. I feel like people think I hate a book when I give it 3 stars, but no. That's a 2 or a 1 star. This 3 star is like one that I do plan on recommending quite a bit, and I really plan on continuing. Like there's a lot of enjoyable aspects in this. It just struggled in other ways, but I'm excited to see the writing progress within the second book in this series. I already own it, and I'm excited to read it, that's for sure. Now back to regular programming, and I'm gonna try and read a chunk of this today. I think Nick and me are either leaving tonight or tomorrow at the cabin, so my plan is to get a good indent into this and give you an update at some point today. Here's my bookmark. I'm 100 pages in. I think this is about 20%. And I honestly am really liking this one so far. I was a little hesitant just because I know this just got picked up traditionally. It's going through like a heavy round of edits. Like the author said she didn't edit it as much as she wanted to before self-publishing it just because of restrictions in money and like self-pubbing. That made me kind of scared that the writing wasn't going to be up to standard. However, I am really enjoying it. I do think it's like overwritten. Like I don't care how many cups of coffee you're having, what's going in your coffee, what's going in the other person's coffee. Like there's definitely like a little too much like descriptive writing that isn't needed. However, I like the plot, I like the world building, and I like the protagonist, and I really like the love interest at this moment in time because we have met him, and I think it's going to be really fun. I think there's an interesting concept in here, specifically with our main character. She's kind of got some like Khaleesi vibes, which I'm really loving, like Game of Thrones style, and you know, I'm into it. The golden hour is golden houring, so I'm sorry that it's bright and I'm very sunny, but we are just thriving in it, sparkling, Edward culleting it up. When I started this, I was thinking, poor Rachel, like Hannah cannot be beat because I loved the banter a lot in Heavenly Bodies. I loved the teasing, and that's typically what really carries me through a good fan row. So I was just like, how are we gonna beat that? I can't lie. Caden and Elwyn are definitely giving Alara and Enzo a run for their money. This I would not necessarily say is enemies to lovers. Like they're never really truly enemies. They're just like a rocky alliance with a little bit of like untrust and rivalry, but they tease so well, and it's the perfect balance of like bantering, funny tease, but also like cute romantic teasing. And I think that that will carry out through the entirety of their romance quite well because you're not really getting enemy banter, which like obviously they can't be enemies forever. They're just like teasing each other constantly. I mean, like, he calls her the bane of his existence, but in like such a cute way. Like she does something like super cute and he's like, oh, you're the bane of my existence. And it's just like, oh, so cute. And then I think at one point she started calling him like the hazel-eyed heathen. And I was like, I'm here for it because like you love his eye color. So that's why you're talking about his eye color when you're talking about him as a heathen. And I'm just like here for it. I'm giggling and blushing so hard as I read this. I definitely think I'm going to annotate this one as well. I did not bring supplies to annotate this one at my lake, so I'm going to annotate it at home. I'm doing the same thing, reading it on my Kindle and just like highlighting whenever I need to highlight or anything like that so that I can transfer it later. And I'm really excited that I'm really liking this one. I should have trusted in Rachel. I should have trusted because this is something I literally love about Rachel's channel is the standard of her books and her reading, in my opinion. I know not only am I going to have like a really fun time reading a book that Rachel likes, but I'm going to have a book that is well developed, well thought out. It's going to have good plot. It's going to have good romance. Like all of these elements are going to be really, really well done in order to make a cohesive book. It's not just like one thing is going to outshine the others. I think she's always reading new fantasy romance too, which I love. Like when I'm in the mood to like learn about a new book, I think Rachel's channel is perfect. She's not just reading like the most hyped things, although like she does, there's like a balance to it. I think that her channel is honestly really perfect for anyone trying to get into fantasy romance because you know there's a standard to the things that she's really, really loving, and she's going to be the person that's willing to like try the new things, which I think is always hard, like to find new books that we're all gonna love and adore, like Fear the Flames. To find the next Sarah J. Maas's, the next Carissa Broadbent's, someone has to do the dirty work, and I know Rachel's going to, and like her passion for doing it really comes across in my opinion, and I really truly honestly have done no wrong by a rec from her. Like there has been no rec that's done me dirty from her. I love them all, truthfully. Like they're all so good. If you are a fantasy romance reader, if you're a romance reader, because she does read romance as well, definitely check out Rachel's channel. She also dabbles in some like regular fantasy. I know she just like loved the Greenbone Saga and Project Hail Mary. Like she definitely is a diverse reader, but like she's my fan row go-to for sure. Her and Hannah, like this is why I put them against each other, because like they're my like go-tos. They're also friends, which made it a lot of fun to see who was gonna win. Oh, also, this story is about Elwyn, who is essentially the heir to one of the kingdoms, but her father literally hated her, kept her in a prison, and tortured her because as a baby, she was gifted 5 dragons. They have a bond that is impossible to break, and her father was trying to figure out how to break it because he didn't want her to use these dragons to take over his throne. He wanted power and all of that. So she, as a kid, escapes and goes and builds her own kingdom, but everyone thinks she's dead, and like it's kind of like a kingdom that's like hidden from the rest of the world. A new kingdom comes in and is starting a war with her father's kingdom, and they need the dragons in order to win the war, and the dragons are still being kept captive by her father, so enter a quest and a heist to go get these dragons, which I think is just a fun take on a fantasy romance. I feel like I haven't seen a heist fantasy romance before. I'm not at the heist yet, but I'm really excited to get to it. I do love a good heist, like Mistborn and Six of Crows. Those are both like stories I personally really enjoy. We're heading home. We're saying goodbye to the cabin, which is always sad. I have the Sunday scaries, but like holiday scaries, because it's not Sunday today. Home time. Tomorrow we do have a fun lunch though. I honestly haven't done much since being home. What you saw in B-roll is pretty much it. We had lunch at Nate because they're in the Olympics for cooking at this point, and it was kind of fun to see. Then I annotated the rest of Heavenly Bodies because I needed to finish that, and I decorated the front page, and I'm literally obsessed with how it looks. I think I'm going to do that with more books. I loved just making the Pinterest vibe, like the aesthetic vibe of the book. That is something I love in like an Instagram reel or a TikTok when I see like this is the aesthetic of this book, and then there's like a bunch of pictures that flash on the screen. So that was kind of like my inspiration to do it, and I think I like hit it on the mark. Like I think it looks so stunning. I haven't done that much reading. I don't know if it's me. Like I think it's me. I think I'm slumping a little bit, which is not fun at the beginning of the year, but I'm struggling to pick this up for long periods of time. I seem to just be reading a chapter here and there throughout the day instead of like normally I just like binge read a book. I like our main characters. I just think the wording is like overwritten. Like the overwritten is really killing it a bit for me in this middle part. I'm kind of like, okay, can we get to the point? Like, can we get to the plot? Can we get to the dragons? I need things to like happen a little bit faster, I think. And I do for some reason feel like the couple fell in love a little too quickly. Even though like they don't get together for like a long time. Some of the things they're saying already just feel a little too escalated for me. However, I think that this will be the book of the year once it's edited. Like, I know it's going through editings right now, and there's so much good about this book that, like, if the ending knocks it out of the park, like, I think once this is edited and has, like, a cleaner story to it, this is gonna be the book everyone is talking about. I mean, everyone is already talking about it, but it's gonna be, like, even more. Like, I think it could, like, blow up and be like the next Fourth Wing or Serpent in the Wings at Night, you know? Like, I think it could really blow up. But I really need to finish it. Like, I would really like to get this vlog out at this point and start the next booktube battle. I'm really, I think, leaning towards wanting to read something other than fantasy right now. I need to push through this so that I can get to the next one because I'm ready to read something new, if that makes sense. I am struggling with this middle half of Fear the Flame quite a bit. This middle section, like the last 20%, probably from like 40 to 60, is just like moving so slow and feels very clunky. I think if you're really a character reader, you could still really enjoy those moments, but it's really repetitive. There's a lot of scenes of him getting hurt, her healing him getting hurt again, her healing him again, and it just feels very repetitive and clunky to me, and it's making me really struggle. I'm zoning out a lot because a lot of these scenes are things I personally don't care about. Today, my only goal is to finish this. I'm going to lay in bed, I've got Starbucks, and I'm gonna finish this. And I'm convinced that the last part of this book is going to make me obsessed again. I think I just miss the plot right now, and I want the plot to happen. It just feels very slow at this moment, and I felt like the beginning was really fast-paced, and then we have this really slow section, so I think the ending is gonna be fast-paced again, and I'm going to love it and eat it up. So hopefully the next time I check in with you, I'm done and I'm obsessed. And I got an iced chai, dirty, with caramel brulee cream on top. And half sweet. I'm done. I finished it. I'm giving it a 3-star. I have really mixed feelings on this one. I really liked a lot of it. I think the groundwork for such an incredible story is sitting in my hands right now. In case you didn't know, this book was picked up traditionally, and the author recently put out a message that to me sounded like it's getting a pretty big overhaul. They're doing a decent amount of editing to make it cleaner and crisper, and I really truly think that this book is going to shine. And if I had read it traditionally published, I'm assuming it would get a 4 or 5 star from me. Because the aspects of this that I loved, I love. We have this reluctant ally to lover plotline that goes on that I think is really, really well done. I loved the banter between these two. It felt very natural and it never really fully went away. There was definitely more of it at the beginning, but they were still teasing each other in like moments later on because the banter didn't come from a place of like hate. It came from just like a place of their personalities and teasing, and it is something I struggle with a lot in enemies to lovers. When they become lovers, the banter can flop sometimes. They always kept each other on each other's toes in this one, and I really, really loved that aspect of it. It also, I think, is a good mix of slow burn to fast burn. I prefer my slow burn to be at a snail's pace, like the littlest, tiniest movement at all times. And I don't think that this is as slow burn as I prefer. However, I think it was a good mix that I could still enjoy it. And if you like a quicker burn, you will also still enjoy this. It felt decently natural to me from this progression from reluctant ally to lover, because they quickly became friends when they realized their alliance was very truly helpful. So I loved that. I loved the found family aspect in this. I think the group that we're with is a lot of fun. There was fun, playful banter within that group. I really cared about each of those characters. I was happy to see them in scenes, sad when I thought things were happening to them. And I do think that the plot we're setting up also seems really, really cool. I wish that it was better done because of pacing issues. For example, the heist. I talked about the heist earlier. I talked about how excited I was for it because I love a good heist. And I wish I could go back to Cassidy in the past and say, don't get your hopes up. The heist happens in like 2 chapters. It is the most anticlimactic, underwhelming scene of this entire book in my opinion, and it really, really angered me because of that, especially because we just spent 20% with our characters doing little small things, and I was like, okay, now we're getting to the action, and then the action was 2 chapters and we were back to doing the same things we were always doing, and that really, really, really frustrated me. However, I really liked the ending of this. I think the ending was what I had wanted from the heist, and I'm really glad I still got it. I just think there was some pacing issues that will be fixed when it comes out traditionally. Like, I'm really excited to see the results of the traditionally published one because I truly, truly think that there's an incredible, incredible story here. It just needs an edit. I'm so happy it's getting that. And it just felt a little too repetitive to me, a little too overwritten. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm going to tell everyone to pick up the trad. I literally think that when the traditionally published book comes out, we're all going to be screaming, crying, throwing up. This is going to be our personality because I think that it is a really cool story. Happy I read this. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for book 2. I can't wait for everyone else to experience it and love it with me. I do think it's pretty clear who won this battle, but for the official ruling, I'll let you know. Heavenly Bodies was definitely my favorite out of these 2 recs, which means Hannah is the champion of the fantasy romance booktuber battle. I also do know that both Hannah and Rachel love both of these books. I believe both of them were on both of their best of the year. So, I mean, really they both won because I truly know that I can trust both their recs. And I want to let you all know that if you're looking for some fanro creators, please subscribe to both their channels. I absolutely adore and I love them. And if you made it all the way to the end of this video and you'd like to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a star emoji for Heavenly Bodies, or let me know if you're planning to read either of these books anytime soon. And if you're interested, episode 1 will be right here on the screen for you to go check out. We had Tori from Tori Between the Pages going up against Mel from Melanie Reads in that one, and it was a lot of fun. Episode 3 will be here in no time.